Hi, it's Amanda here. Welcome to the Arts and Wellness Cafe. It's the end of the day here, and you'll probably be seeing this, hopefully, sometime tomorrow when my internet can be restored. But we're having to, we're just having to make do. The word for today is discernment, and it's been a funny sort of day, and it was a really interesting day. I had a really good conversation with an artist today, and there are things that we're hopefully going to be putting into place. This episode is going to be slightly different shorter than the others, again because we're having to make do with not substandard equipment, but we're doing the best we can. But and again, that's an example of being discerning and thinking about what it is you need to do, what it is you need to get finished, or what's right for you. Huh? Oh my gosh, sorry. It was. I get really excited when I see parakeets, and there is a community of parakeets, and they fly over my garden. So a year ago I saw one. More recently I saw 3 fly over, and I'm hoping to give them the right environment so that they can come and spend time in my garden, which the studio overlooks. And so every time you see me kind of gazing out there, it's that I'm gazing out at the garden, which brings me so much joy. So the word for today being discernment, and thinking about how you relate that to your creative practice, and how I relate it to my creative practice. And I'm always thinking about what it is I'm doing, what feeds into what, how am I expressing the things that need to be expressed, in what way does a particular thing need to be expressed, and do I have the right, not only equipment, but the right skill? So there are things that I want to express that I'm maybe not necessarily there with the experience yet, but it's so then you have to, learn, research, do what it is you need to do to gain the information, the knowledge, so that you can then put it into the thing that you're trying to create and express. So all along in my creative practice, I've always looked at bringing my expertise and doing that to the fullest. So again, as I say, if I need to learn a particular thing, I'll research it, I will practice, and then I'll put it out there. And so discernment, say in your creative walk, may not necessarily be the only thing that you're thinking of. It's your spiritual walk as well, and being discerning as to the things that you get yourself involved in, the things that you say, do, the impact you may be making on others. And I use this word loosely. If you know what your purpose is, then working so that your purpose is being fulfilled. For me, it's about the skills that I've been given, that I've been born with, the ones that I've developed, and if I've taken the time to train myself, how am I developing these skills, and in what way can they be used? And I think it's important that you think about all of those things, and think about, the direction that you're going in. I also think about how it is I'm feeling, and when I make a decision, it's not just based on, well, this seems the right course of action, but there are other things that come into play that you need to consider. And so I bring that into it as well, because you could have been taught that, you know, it's not about how you feel, it's, you know, what you're supposed to do. Or so the way you feel about something may never have been, you may never know until you actually consider it, and it may be not the right thing for you to do. So sit in that for a minute and just think about what that means to you. So when you reflect on all the things that you're doing, what are the things that have really kind of come out at you that have been good, have been right, have been, you know, you've seen things unfold. Now, I'm not saying that should you be working in your purpose, that things just easily unfold. I was talking to somebody about that recently, and I said sometimes doing the things that you love and are passionate about can be really hard. You know, it's not necessarily always easy, and you have to work at it. Sometimes you don't feel like doing it, and so you have to think about what it is you want to achieve and work at it. So if you wanted to be a writer but haven't been writing, you know, you might want to start a creative practice where you have to write something for, you know, maybe 100 words. That's the minimum, you know. But I mean, Steven Spielberg, who's just the one that just comes to the top of my mind, who has a writing practice of writing 3,000 words a day, regardless. If you think to yourself, if you're writing and you're making it a practice, because that's what practice is, you're doing it on a regular basis, think about what you could potentially produce. Now, I did that for 100 days. No, I didn't do that for 100 days. What did I do? 30 day. I did a 30-day challenge where I would write 100 words a day. Some days I wrote more, some days I just managed to get the 100 words. It was just like, oh, squeeze it out. But out of that, I found that I had created 3 really good stories that I'm excited about, and 14 other short stories that, with a bit of work, you could do something with. So I want you to think about that, and think about how that makes you feel. Think about what things come up for you and what you could potentially move on to do. And, you know, really, if you need to make some notes about the word discernment, do that. Well, hello and welcome back. So you got a funny view of the studios. It's an unusual shape, but okay, so back to the topic in hand, and maybe I wasn't feeling the book review. I just wasn't feeling it, and I don't even know. I'm feeling a bit weird, so I'm using my best judgment to maybe think about what's going on, how I'm feeling. It's a little bit of a, I was going to say, it feels like, you know, when you've got a sugar rush, but I haven't had like anything, although, let me think, yeah, maybe I did actually. Yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, I'm having a sugar rush, and it's this kind of feeling. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. The topic at hand is discernment, and so what I'll probably just do, apart from outside of the, you know, the book review, the journal, I probably will share a journal alongside this, or it will come out after this comes out. But I'll share with you some of the things that I've been doing in the studio. So I'm preparing I'm preparing for a course, and I'll share with you just briefly. You won't necessarily understand it unless you are actually doing it, but I'll share that. It's just something that I'm doing. And the other thing that I've been doing, the other two things that I've been doing, shall show you an art journal page and maybe some books. I'm thinking of doing a art journal a week and just sharing an art journal. I've got hundreds of art journals, so I want to really just kind of share an art journal and do a page out of that art journal. And it may be that you too have loads of art journals, some unfinished, that are sitting there, and this is the little kind of kick you need to maybe dig them out and either finish the book, finish the art journal, or just to creating it. I like creating journals that I can dip in and out of, and I guess these are ones that so there are still blank pages in them, and so I want to do something. And this was just that one. I've shown that one before. I like creating shapes and creating journals, and I just didn't want to do a face. I normally do faces, but I wanted to do a figure, and something else is going on, and maybe that's the setting for being able to write on the page. I'll probably use this page as one that I would write on. I was also looking at some of the papers that I had and cards, and I just flung together this mini journal. And so this will be another one that I will share, and I was just collaging some paper in there so that I could have a surface that was kind of not like that, not just a blank surface, but I could have something that I could then go back in. And I'm not sure what I'll use this for. I was thinking of creating a journal that I could have for all my stamps. I've got loads of stamps that I've not only made and loads that I've brought, but I'd like to look at the ones that I've made and create pages for them, so that rather than having to dig through the stamps, that maybe I could have a little book and I'd open it and say, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I want, and then I'll know where it is. And what else? Look at this little potion. Do you know what this is? This is the Clitoria tenae. It's flower, and I'm extracting the pigments, and I have been, is it here? Ooh, I'll have to move. It's, oh, yeah. I've been using various stages of it, so I've playing with this. So this has been dyed with the flower, pigment from the flower, and the darker areas are where I've allowed it to dry out, the solution to dry out, and it's left a really dark coloured solution at the bottom where it's all dried out and become really concentrated, and I've been able to create from that. So this is just from the flower that I've made the patterns and then dipped this white piece of cloth in there. And I recently just put them through. I collected, I don't know, about 50 flowers. It's amazing. It's an amazing plant that you pick the flowers and then the very next day it produces loads more. And then it produces an abundance of seeds. So I'm thinking about allowing this to, the water to evaporate, and then it will just leave the pigment, and seeing what I can do with it. And I've just put in some citronella oil just to kind of keep it smelling fresh. And lastly but not least, I've been doing another fabric piece, and I'll show you this here. And this is nearing completion because I've added all the stitching that I want, and now I'm maybe considering some beading, maybe not because it's got quite a lot going on, but I want to put the other fabric now to this. We'll see how it goes. I've just been feeling it, so intuitively we've got it to this stage and I really like it. And yeah, I want to kind of put this to bed now, along with the others that I want to just create the backing for them. I mean, I know this one I was thinking of kind of leaving that out, but creating a hanging system for it, and this one here, and then move on to some others. So this one I've got to kind of dive through some of the fabric that I've got and see which one will best suit this, and then take it home or bring it home, you know. But I really like the way that they've turned out, and especially where it's through experimenting and actually just kind of pushing the boundaries and seeing where you can take it. So that's what I've been getting up to so far. I've been getting up to a few other things, but all in good time. And I am going to remind you of the word discernment, and how that sits with you, and what is coming up for you when you think about that word. Do you use it? Would you say that you've got good judgment, good, you know, you're good at discerning things? And I think especially when it comes to ourselves, it's a lot harder than if you were thinking about somebody else, or somebody else was asking you what you think about something pertaining to them. It's easy to give somebody else advice as opposed to think about what you need to do for yourself. And it's really weird how not having the internet, access to the internet, how you then dive in. I've been diving into other areas and trying to get them it's a dog, trying to get them to a place where I feel happy with them. And you know, I've been doing quite a lot of editing where my computer allows, and yeah, just really, it's like you have to get on with things. And if you can't do one thing, do another, and that's the nature of being. Sometimes in the Caribbean, not everybody has outages of, I think it's literally just, it's a fibre, the fibre optics, they were saying, they have to come and it's broken, so that's why we can't get internet access. It's not like, you know, the internet has gone down around the island. Anyway, so I'm going to cut it short there, and I'm thanking you for joining me. And again, think about the time and the space that you give yourself. Think about how you start your day. Think about how you end your day and the things you put in your day. Think about how you're nourishing yourself. Are you nourishing yourself? And think about what you need. Because I certainly know that the way I'm feeling now is because I had a toast with chocolate spread. Crunchy chocolate spread. After all this time of not, I'm like on a high. After all this time of not having wheat or chocolate, it's just like, ooh, you know, it's just, food can be a drug. But it's, you need to take care of yourself, and that's what that's reminded me, because then you're just kind of like not at your best. So I want to thank you for joining me, and I look forward to connecting with you. Take care for now, and remember the other journal. I'm going to put up a journal page for you to dive into and look at, and I want you to stay blessed and be a blessing.